talking about going into all of these different characters and creating these different characters. A lot of stories for young audiences, perhaps particularly for the younger children, have characters that aren't human. You know, they are animals, they are cars, they are planes.
Car.
Right. Are there any kind of pitfalls? Is there anything that's sort of do you have to be aware of as a writer if you want to go and write for kind of non-human characters?
No, actually no. I mean, it's about humans. I mean, if it's a car, I just have to imagine this non-human character as a human and give him an age, give him a story, history, like a human. I mean, so now this is a tradition which is thousands of years old, that we have actually used, especially animals, of course, I mean, for characters to say something about humans. So I'm on solid ground there.
In terms of world, in terms of the world of your story. I think a lot of writers wanting to write for children, I don't know, this is an assumption, maybe I'm wrong, but I think the being allowed to go into a kind of fantastical world, to create a fantastic, really imaginative surroundings, magical in the past or in the future, and that can be quite attractive, I think. But I've also come across films where films and plays where it's more about the world than about the story. Do you have any thoughts on how to kind of rein in your world, or how to work within kind of fantastical limits?
Well, it's very difficult actually to make a fantastic or magic world. It's much more difficult than you believe, because you have to think of all the rules. If you change the rules of our world, you have to apply new rules. For instance, can they fly? Is there no gravity in this world, etc.? But I'm actually very skeptic for myself to go into this magical world genre. I'd like to use unusual characters in a straight world. I think that's more interesting. And if you have magical people or characters in a magical world, that can be, what they say, I don't know the English expression, but in Norwegian it's smør på flesk.
Yeah, it's just too much.
Too
somehow.
much.
It's over the top.
Over the top, yes.
But you have written about a car, and of course for an animated film, and
Yeah.
even though, in a sense, that it's not a magical world, it's still, because it's a cartoon, it's not identical with our world anyway. Do you navigate that? Is that difficult to navigate?
Well, actually this world started as ordinary movie, because the first movie wasn't animated movie. So and it was situated in a northern town in Norway, which I know very well. So it's sort of based on real life, almost a true story, but it has one character in the movie, and it was just one character who was a car, who can speak. But when I transferred this universe to animated movie, then I got more liberty in a way. So I found more character who like animals, and that gave me a freedom which was very good. I mean, for instance, I had this little eagle baby, newborn, and I could use my own daughter's language, because in the movie you see this little baby eagle grow up in just some, couple of minutes. Then he's from newborn to like 10 years or something like that, 8 years. And I could use my own daughter's language or her expressions as a child, which I remembered very well, and I can apply that language on this little eagle, and then it's a real character in a way. It's not magic.
You have to be careful with who can understand who. Can everybody understand each other? Does everybody speak human?
That was we had some trouble with that, and then we actually changed the rules there during the process. I think that's a little troublesome, yeah. But you have to really be very, very careful. What kind of rules do you have in the movie or in the play?
Onto a slightly different subject. The idea of metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
Metaphors, they can be quite complex, perhaps. Is there a danger of using metaphor in work for young audiences? In using metaphor in theatre or in work for young audiences, that things will happen on a level that the young audience won't understand?
Well, like I said, I'm always thinking about the audience as one group in a way. I'm not so concerned about if I use a metaphor that the 6-year-old don't understand it. I understand that the 6-year-old don't understand my use of metaphor, but maybe that can trigger something, a question to the parent, and that's I don't mind that people talk when they're in the theater, a little whisper. What's happening now? What's that? The same with the irony, I'm not so fond of irony, but the use of undertext. Subtext. Of course, you can't rely on that the 6-year-old girl understands the subtext here. But the parents probably will, and they can talk about it later.
The fact that somebody says something that means something else.
Yeah.
That's in a sense a learning experience through which...
It is. It is. I mean, it's all about communicating, and the process don't stop when the play is over. I mean, really, a good play or a movie, it continues maybe for ages, maybe for years afterwards. you can take it up and talk about it.
When you write for the screen, you write for a cartoon now, or a comic book, yeah, and you write for the theatre. What's the difference? What are can you sum up? You know, maybe it's too big a subject.
No, it's not. It's not difficult to sum up that, because it's for me it's no difference actually.